The forgotten promise, the summer light danced through the festival lanterns as Sofia Reyes adjusted her camera settings. At 22, her portfolio was already impressive enough to earn her a spot documenting the prestigious Riverdale Music Festival. Her dark curls were pulled back in a messy bun, paint-stained fingers moving deftly across the camera body. "You're capturing sound with that thing," a voice said behind her. Sophia turned to find a man watching her work. Tall, with kind eyes that crinkled at the corners when he smiled. His rolled-up sleeves revealed forearms marked with musical notation. "Tattoos. I'm Elijah," he said, extending his hand. "Elijah Bennett, Sophia," she replied, noticing the guitar calluses on his fingertips. "And I'm trying to capture moments, not sound." "That's your department, I'm guessing?" He laughed. A melodic sound that seemed to fit perfectly with the festival atmosphere. "Guilty. I'm playing the midnight set at the Oak Stage." That night, Sophia found herself drawn to the Oak Stage, camera forgotten as Elijah's voice washed over the crowd. He wasn't like the headliners. There was something raw and honest in his performance that reached inside her chest and squeezed afterward. He found her in the crowd. "What did you think? Did I give you any good moments to capture?" Their conversation lasted until dawn, sitting on the riverbank as the festival lights reflected on the water. Elijah was passing through. He explained a 3-month residency at the festival before heading to Los Angeles, where a producer had shown interest in his work. For 6 perfect weeks. They were inseparable. Sophia showed him her artwork. He played her songs he'd never performed for anyone. They talked about dreams, her photography studio, his hope to create music that mattered. When they made love in her tiny apartment, with moonlight streaming through thin curtains, Sophia felt like she was living inside one of her own photographs. Perfect moment crystallized. "I'll come back for you," he promised on their last night. "Together, after I get things settled in LA, we'll figure it out." But the phone number he gave her never connected, and the email address bounced back her messages. Sophia told herself it was a technical error, then that he was busy, then as. Weeks passed that he had simply moved on. The festival ended, summer faded, and Elijah Bennett disappeared from her life as quickly as he had entered it, when the pregnancy test showed positive. Sophia sat on her bathroom floor for hours. When the doctor later told her it was triplets, she nearly fainted. "I can't do this," she whispered to her best friend Javier. "I'm still in school. I have no money." "And he's gone." "You can do anything," Javier said firmly. "And you won't do it alone." With Javier's support and her own stubborn determination, Sophia took a leave from art school. She moved into her grandmother's old house on the edge of town and converted the sunroom into a small photography studio. 9 months after the festival, she gave birth to 3 tiny girls with eyes that reminded her painfully of summer nights and broken promises. She named them Dahlia, Zoe, and Lilyflower, names like her own mother had given her. They were small but fierce, each with their own distinct personality from the very beginning. In stolen moments between feedings and diaper changes, Sophia would whisper to them about art and light and composition. She never mentioned their father. As they grew, Sophia built her photography business. She specialized in family portraits and small events, working around her daughter's schedules. The girls' first words, first steps, first days of school were meticulously documented through her lens. If she sometimes woke in the night with the echo of a melody in her mind, she pushed the memory away by morning. The promise of return had faded long ago, but the echoes of that summer remained in the faces of her daughters, who carried pieces of Elijah in their smiles, in their love of music, and in their eyes. Years of silence, 8 years passed like the turning pages of a well-worn book, sometimes slowly, often too quickly. Sophia's small photography studio, Captured Moments, had become a respected fixture in the community. Her specialty in family, portraiture, and children's photography had grown from necessity. She could bring the girls with her to outdoor shoots, sense a genuine passion. The sunroom studio of her grandmother's house had expanded into the converted garage, with proper lighting equipment and backdrops. The triplets were now second graders, each developing into her own person, while maintaining that mysterious connection that only multiples seemed to share. Dahlia, born first and always quick to take charge, showed artistic talent that made Sophia's heart swell with pride. Her drawings covered the refrigerator and the walls of their shared bedroom. Zoe, the middle child by 3 minutes, was the quietest but most observant, often disappearing into books thicker than seemed possible for an 8-year-old. And Lily, the youngest, possessed a natural musicality that sometimes caught Sophia off guard, the way she hummed while doing homework or tapped complex rhythms on tabletops. "Mom, can we take piano lessons like Jasmine does?" Lily asked one evening, as Sophia sorted through client photos on her laptop. The question made Sophia pause. Music lessons meant money, but more than that, they meant confronting the part of her daughter's heritage she'd tried to ignore. "We'll see, sweet pea," she said finally. "Let me finish this wedding album first." That night, after tucking the girls in, Sophia opened the bottom drawer of her dresser and pulled out a small wooden box. Inside was a festival wristband, a few photographs, a CD in a handmade paper sleeve with "For Sophia Until Next Time" written in now faded ink. She hadn't listened to it in years, but she knew every song by heart. Life as a single mother of triplets had not been easy. There were days when exhaustion seeped into her bones, nights spent worrying about money, moments of overwhelming loneliness when she watched other families with 2 parents sharing the load. But there was also boundless joy, 3 different laughs ringing through the house, tiny arms wrapped around her neck. The pride of watching her daughters grow strong and kind, despite the missing piece of their family puzzle. Javier remained her rock. Now married with a son of his own, he and his husband Daniel were the closest thing 2 uncles the girls had. They took the triplets 1 weekend each month so Sophia could catch up on work or occasionally remember what it felt like to be simply herself rather than someone's mother. "You should date," Javier insisted during their monthly coffee meet. "The girls are old enough now. They wouldn't freak out." Sophia stirred her latte absently. "I've tried, remember? It's that disaster with the accountant last year." "One bad date doesn't condemn you to eternal solitude," he countered. 30 Soph. But dating seemed impossible. Between work and motherhood there was little time, and despite her best efforts, each potential relationship faltered on the same obstacle. No one quite measured up to a memory she couldn't shake. The triplets rarely asked about their father anymore. When they were younger, she had told them, he was a musician who had to go away. As they grew older and more perceptive, she added that he hadn't known about them, which was true enough. She kept her explanations simple, free of bitterness. Whatever her feelings toward Elijah, she wouldn't poison her daughters against half of their identity. Sometimes, in quiet moments, she would catch herself looking for traces of him in them Dahlia's intensity. When focused on a drawing, Zoe's thoughtful pauses before speaking, the way Lily's fingers moved as if playing invisible keys. On those nights, she would sit on the porch swing after bedtime, wondering if somewhere across the country he ever thought of her or the summer that had changed everything. As autumn approached, bringing with it the 8th anniversary of the girl's birth, Sophia finally made a decision. "We'll start piano lessons next month," she told Lily over breakfast. "It's all 3 of you if you want." The joy on her youngest daughter's face was worth whatever ghosts the music might summon. What Sophia couldn't know was that across the country, Elijah Bennett, now known professionally as E.J. Bennett, founder of Resonance Records, was preparing for a cross-country talent scouting trip that would bring him back to the very town he had left behind. The silence of 8 years was about to be broken by the simple turn of a door handle, the ring of a bell over a coffee shop entrance. Recognition, the Riverdale Arts Festival, had grown considerably since Sophia had last attended. Now spanning 2 weeks instead of 1, it had expanded beyond music to include visual arts, film, and culinary experiences. When the festival organizers approached her about photographing the event, the irony wasn't lost on her. 8 years ago, this festival had changed her life. Now she was returning as a professional, a mother, a different woman entirely. "We can help with the booth, Mom," Dahlia insisted, already planning how they would display Sophia's photography samples. The girls were excited about attending, especially when Sophia explained they could watch performances and participate in children's art workshops while she worked. What she didn't tell them was how her heart raced at the thought of returning. Now she had scoured the performance lineup looking for a name she both longed for and dreaded seeing. The name wasn't there. but others were bands signed to Resonance Records, the label that had made headlines in the industry for discovering and nurturing independent artists. Sophia had recognized the label name the first time she'd seen it in a magazine years ago. Had followed its rise with a detached interest she pretended was professional curiosity. "I'm meeting with some potential artists this afternoon," Javier said, helping her set up her booth on opening day. As an arts correspondent for a regional magazine, he had his own reasons for attending. "Want me to take the girls for a few hours?" Sophia nodded gratefully. "The children's pottery workshop is at 2. They're already registered." The festival's first weekend passed in a blur of shutter clicks and smiling faces. Sophia's portfolio display attracted considerable attention, and she booked several future sessions. The girls enjoyed the workshops and performances, coming back to her booth with painted faces and handmade crafts. By Monday morning, as the weekday crowds thinned, Sophia felt herself relaxing into the rhythm of the event. She was adjusting her camera settings, preparing to photograph a dance performance, when a voice behind her said, "Excuse me, but your work is remarkable." The deep timbre of it sent an electric current down her spine. Slowly, Sophia turned. Elijah Bennett stood before her, more polished than she remembered, but unmistakable. His hair was shorter, styled deliberately rather than carelessly pushed back. The casual t-shirt and jeans of the young musician had been replaced by a tailored shirt and dark pants. But his eyes, those eyes that had haunted her for 8 years, that she saw every day in her daughter's faces, were exactly the same. He didn't recognize her. Not at first. She saw the professional appreciation in his gaze as he examined the photographs displayed on her booth walls, the courteous smile of a stranger. "Thank you," she managed, her voice steadier than she felt. "I'm looking for photographers for some upcoming album artwork," he continued, reaching for a business card. From his pocket, "I run a record label," and recognition dawned slowly, like a developing photograph. She saw the moment it clicked, his words faltering, eyes widening as they traveled from her professional smile to truly see her face. "Sophia." He breathed her name like a forgotten prayer. "Sophia Reyes." Before she could respond, a small whirlwind crashed into her legs. Lily, face bright with excitement, tugged at her mother's shirt. "Mom, Uncle Javi said we can watch the string quartet before pottery class. Can we? Please?" Dahlia and Zoe appeared behind their sister, all three looking up expectantly. Unaware of the man who had gone completely still at the sight of them, time seemed to slow as Elijah's gaze moved from Sophia to the girls. Taking in their features, with mounting disbelief, 3 sets of eyes so like his own stared back with innocent curiosity. "Girls," Sophia said, her mouth dry, "why don't you go with Uncle Javier for a minute? I need to talk to this gentleman about a photography project." Javier, who had approached more slowly behind the girls, assessed the situation with one quick glance. His eyes widened in recognition before he smoothly gathered the triplets. "Come on, troublemakers. Let's go scope out the best seats." As they disappeared into the crowd, Elijah's eyes remained fixed on the spot where they had stood. "They single quotes, re-dot." He started, unable to complete the thought. 8. Sophia finished for him. "They turned 8 last month. They're mine." It wasn't a question. The festival continued around them, music playing, people laughing, life moving forward while they stood frozen in a moment Sophia had both imagined and dreaded for years. "Yes," she said simply, "they're yours." Bridging worlds, the small cafe near the festival grounds seemed like neutral territory. Sophia sat across from Elijah, watching him struggle to process the revelation that had appended his world in the space of a heartbeat. His coffee remained untouched, growing cold between his hands. "Triplets," he said, the words still unfamiliar on his tongue. "3 daughters I never knew existed." "I tried to find you," Sophia said, the words carrying 8 years of weight. "The number you gave me never worked." The emails bounced back. Elijah ran a hand through his hair, a gesture so familiar it made her chest ache. "My father," he said finally. "When he found out I was serious about music instead of joining the family business, he cut me off. Changed my phone number. Shut down my email account. I was completely on my own. You could have come back, she said quietly. You promised you would. 3 months later, you weren't at your apartment anymore. No one at the arts college knew where you'd gone. His eyes met hers, haunted by what-ifs. I thought you'd moved on. The irony was bitter. While she had been adapting to pregnancy and preparing for motherhood, he had been searching for her. Both of them lost to each other through simple, cruel circumstance. Their names? He asked. Dahlia, Zoe, and Lily. Sophia pulled out her phone, scrolling to a recent photo of the 3 girls. Arms around each other, gap-toothed smiles beaming. At the camera, Dahlia is the eldest. She's artistic, stubborn, fiercely protective of her sisters. Zoe's our thinker, always watching, always processing. And Lily, ... double quotes, she paused. Lily has your gift for music. Elijah stared at the photo, fingers hovering above the screen, as if afraid to make contact. They're beautiful, he whispered. Perfect. The days that followed, life took on a surreal quality. Elijah canceled his remaining appointments, extending his stay indefinitely. They agreed to tell the girls immediately. No more secrets, no more lost time. The girls' reactions were as individual as their personalities. Dahlia was suspicious, peppering Elijah with questions about where he'd been and why he'd stayed away. Zoe observed quietly, reserving judgment as she processed this new information. Lily, the most immediately accepting, was thrilled to discover he was a musician and peppered him with questions about instruments and songs. Why didn't you come back before? Dahlia demanded during their second meeting, a picnic in the park. That Sophia observed from a careful distance, giving them space while remaining in sight. Elijah answered every question honestly, omitting only details inappropriate for 8-year-old ears. Didn't vilify his father, didn't present himself as a victim, simply explained the circumstances as they had occurred. I would have come back if I'd known about you, he told them. I would have moved mountains to find you. Watching him with their daughters, Sophia recognized the same gentle patience he had shown 8 years ago. He didn't push, didn't try to, by their affection with extravagant gifts, simply offered his presence and genuine interest in their lives. For Sophia, the situation was more complicated. Elijah's reappearance had ripped open wounds she'd thought healed. She maintained a careful distance, cordial but guarded. During his visits with the girls, she often retreated to her studio, processing her turbulent emotions through her art. Never stopped looking for you, he told her one evening after the girls had gone to bed. The two of them sitting on her porch swing under a canopy of stars. Even after years passed, I would see a woman with dark curls in a crowd and my heart would stop, thinking it might be you. I had to stop looking, she admitted. I had 3 babies who needed me present, not pining for someone who might never return. The chasm between them was both vast and paper-thin. Years of separate lives lived, yet connected by an invisible thread that had never fully broken. As weeks passed, a tentative routine developed. Elijah rented a house nearby, restructured his business to allow remote work, and became a regular presence in his daughters' lives. He attended school events, helped with homework, discovered the unique joy of hearing Lily play the songs he taught her on the piano. He had delivered to Sophia's home. The town buzzed with gossip, the famous producer, and the local photographer. Their unusual family arrangement. But within their small circle, something new was growing. Not quite forgiveness, not quite reconciliation, but a bridge being built one careful plank at a time. Symphony of Second Chances autumn faded into winter, bringing with it holiday preparations and dubbed her school activities. For months had passed since Elijah's return, and his presence had become woven into the fabric of their daily lives. The girls now moved between 2 homes with an ease that sometimes astonished Sophia, the flexible resilience of childhood. Making space for this new reality, the uneasy truce between Sophia and Elijah had gradually transformed into something resembling friendship. Co-parenting meetings evolved into conversations that stretched late into the evening, rediscovering each other while navigating the complexity of their situation. I'm thinking of opening a branch of Resonance Records here, Elijah mentioned one evening as they sat in her kitchen after the girls had gone to bed. There's incredible talent in this region that gets overlooked. Sophia looked up from the client gallery she was editing. You'd move your business headquarters? The girls need stability, he said simply. I won't be an occasional father flying in for visits. His commitment to their daughters was unwavering. He had integrated himself into their lives with patience. In genuine effort attending parent-teacher conferences alongside Sophia, never missing a school performance, establishing traditions of his own. Sunday morning pancakes at his house had become sacrosanct, as had Wednesday evening music lessons. For Sophia, watching him become the father their daughters deserved was both healing and painful. Each moment of connection between them was a bittersweet reminder of what might have been if circumstances had been different. The girls. Winter piano recital fell on a snowy December evening. Lily, the most musically inclined, had been practicing for weeks, determined to perfect her piece. Backstage, she clutched her sheet music with nervous fingers. What if I mess up? She whispered to Sophia. Before Sophia could respond, Elijah knelt beside them. Then you'll keep playing, he said gently. The most beautiful music often comes from unexpected notes. Lily's performance was flawless, her small fingers moving confidently across the keys, her face serene with concentration. Watching from the audience, Sophia felt tears prick her eyes as she recognized the melody. It was one of Elijah's compositions from years ago. One he had played for her during that long-ago summer. Later that night, after dropping the girls at Elijah's for their weekend stay, Sophia found herself driving aimlessly through town, eventually parking near the riverbank where the summer festival had been held. Snow dusted the empty amphitheater, the river frozen at its edges. She wasn't surprised when headlights appeared behind her. When Elijah's car parked nearby and he approached with 2 cups of hot chocolate. The girls are asleep at Daniel and Javier's, he explained, handing her a steaming cup. I saw your car and thought you might be cold. They sat in silence, watching their breath cloud in the winter air. Lily played your song, Sophia said finally, the one you wrote about the river. She found the sheet music in my studio. Asked me to teach her. His voice was soft with wonder. She has a gift, Sophia. All 3 of them do, in different ways. They get that from both of us, she acknowledged. The admission hung between them, the first time she had openly recognized their shared contribution to who their daughters were becoming. I never stopped loving you, Elijah said, the words crystallizing in the cold air. Even when I couldn't find you. Even when I tried to move on. Sophia turned to face him, seeing not just the successful producer he had become, but glimpses of the young musician who had captured her heart years ago. I built walls to protect myself, she admitted, to be strong for the girls. I couldn't risk being that vulnerable again. And now? He asked, snow gathering on his shoulders. In answer, Sophia reached for his hand, her fingers cold against his warm palm. Now I'm terrified, she whispered, because the girls love you, because I never really stopped loving you either, because second chances are rare and precious and terrifying. The snow fell around them, covering the past in a clean white blanket. The melody Lily had played earlier seemed to echo across the frozen river, notes of possibility, of forgiveness, of a family finding its unique harmony after years of silence. I'm not asking for everything all at once, Elijah said, squeezing her hand gently, just for the chance to see where this goes. The 5 of us, finding our way together. As they walked back to their cars, hand in hand under falling snow, Sophia thought about the photographs that lined her studio walls, captured moments of families in all their varied forms. She had spent years documenting other people's happiness, while carefully guarding her own heart. Perhaps it was time to step into the frame herself. To risk disappointment for the possibility of completeness. Not a fairy tale ending, but something real and hard-won, a symphony of second chances. Composed note by note, day by day. Together, the echo of a promise made 8 years ago had finally found its resolution in the winter quiet, in the shared love of 3 remarkable girls, and in the courage to begin again.